How do we try not to win everything in a world that's always competing with us? Because I think the temptation is just, I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Yeah.
How do I stay present at a table? And you do this for a living. How do you stay present at a table, unhooked from every other emotionally reactive person?
You have to add a lot of silence. So when you can add distance between what somebody has said and how you respond, every time it gives you a lot more control, and especially the perception of control. So let's say you and I are having it out, and all of a sudden you just throw the worst insult ever, and I don't say anything back.
It's the worst, man. It's the worst.
I mean, like,
it's like hitting somebody and they just look at you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Will Smith and Chris Rock. He hits him and he just looked at him.
And
I was like, oh, that's bad.
It
looks bad.
It still looks bad.
It does, but it will reverberate
forever.
Right.
Yeah. And so when somebody walks himself out on a plank and you just let them hang there, I mean, that's where you really have your sense of your power move of using silence, because they know that they walked off on that ledge. So when you say unplug, it's really the concept of knowing the power of the pause, knowing that I don't have to say anything. Yeah, you can take your ball and go home, but it's more of the basis of I just don't have to move because I'm confident in what I know and what I have to say. Same thing we were talking about gaslighters, that idea of when you're confident, I see things differently. Now, you can disagree with me. That's fine. It's okay to disagree. And I mean, now you're cool. Yeah. Now you're cool hand Luke. Otherwise, when you're having to go, no, that's not true. And you're bouncing every which way. You're getting heightened. You're yelling. Now you're saying, I'm grasping for control. One with the pause says, no, I'm in control. Much different feeling, much different vibe.
So I guess the next evolution of that question is, talk to me about defensiveness.
Yeah.
And I guess what that communicates.
Right. Funny thing about of defensiveness is it becomes this cycle. So you take something somebody says a certain way and you don't like it. So you get defensive. You say something defensive. Well, in turn, the other person gets defensive and now you're convinced you're under attack. And so like it becomes this loop, what I call a self-fulfilling prophecy, that you say, hey, I thought you were mad at me, kind of thing. You convince yourself that you were mad at somebody. When you get defensive, it's like locking the door in your room and then being mad at somebody that they can't come in. Like, they should understand me. You still expect them to cater to your needs when you've totally blocked out all of theirs. And so it creates this wall that they should know. They should know how I feel. They should know that would upset me. But you care nothing about what's happening to the other person. Now, you can do certain things and techniques to prevent defensiveness from the other person. It's very hard to prevent defensiveness in yourself, aside from just dropping it, not taking things so personally.
Hard.
It's extremely hard. But most of the time, the yell that somebody's given you is truly just a bid for connection, because they're tight, they're tension, they're wanting you to hear. It's most of the time the yell is them wanting to feel like they are connected in some way. Now it depends what they're yelling.
Right.
Yeah, that could be very different. But the whole idea of defensiveness is that it is probably the number one conversation killer. If I were to tell you, you say something to me and I can tell I'm getting defensive at that. Now, when you hear that, does that make you sound like I know what I'm doing? Like I'm in control of myself, or I'm not?
When you say that, I'm getting defensive about that.
Yeah, if I say I can tell I'm getting defensive about that.
That makes me feel like you're weak.
Yeah.
When you say that.
Yeah.
But also, because I want to be like, when you say that, like, I'm getting defensive about that. I feel like if that's the goal here.
Well, it's because you're a bully. That's why.
But I'm coming at you. But also, it is. I keep going back to fighting analogies, but that's you creating distance from us. I can't hit you.
Yeah, you got it.
I can't. I'll swing again, and that's you saying like, oh, I feel my body doing X, Y, and Z, and so I'm getting out of striking distance. And as a guy that's trying to fire you up, that annoys me.
That's a great metaphor.
Right?
Yeah. I once had a trial where we were probably halfway through, and this guy on the other side was such a fireball. He just gets so heated about everything. And halfway through in a break, he goes, "Man, I really don't like you." I said, "Oh, that's okay." You know. He goes, "No, I mean, I like you. I mean, you're great." He goes, "The thing is," he goes, "you don't give me an enemy." He goes, "I can't get mad at you." He's like, "I can't." He goes, "Usually I try and make an opponent." So I've become, like, before trial, of course, personally, we're fine. But when it comes to courtroom.
Yeah, you put the gloves on and get after it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm the opponent.
Yeah.
And so he wants to feel justified in saying mean things and this other side, and they're the enemy. But I never gave him that because I didn't deserve it. You know, I hadn't done anything rude. I was always continuing to be kind and this, like, just water off a duck's back kind of thing. And that's a main key is most people are just looking for an enemy when it comes to conversation. They're wanting to find a way to be mad at you.
So I would say the next derivative then is actually, I don't know if they're looking for an enemy as much as they're looking to feel justified being in a soup of their own feelings.
Yeah.
And the way they can feel justified in feeling miserable is if it's your fault.
Perfect. You got it. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. They want to feel a certain way, so they need to dump it on somebody. And you happen to be the living thing in the room.
All right. So that distills down. Can I tell you what the biggest thing I left with this book?
Yeah.
And disagree with me if you're like, that's not really what I meant. This may be one of the top 3 or 4 countercultural books I've ever read.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Thanks,
Here's
man.
what I mean about that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've read a book in the last 10 years, maybe Arthur Brooks, that I closed the book and thought, Jefferson sees more capability in me than I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if I step back and look at the cloud hanging over our culture, it is, I've got fill in the blank diagnostic. I've got fill in the blank childhood trauma. I got fill in the blank X, Y, or Z malady. And culture has convinced us over the last 25 years, you're irrevocably broken. Just go to the margin. We'll pat you on the head and we'll take care of it.
Right.
Because you can't.
Yeah.
And as I was going through this, I would say, like, don't win the argument. I'm like, all right, man, but like, that means I have to just sit here and be cool.
Right.
And I know me well enough to know that means I got to still go see a counselor. And that means I got to get with my wife once a week and plan the week out so that I give her some peace so that I can have some peace. That means that I got to exercise most of the time. Otherwise, I'm just kind of a ball of,
yeah.
And I kept hearing this, oh, you can.
Yeah.
You can. Or don't get defensive, or get up and walk away, or just don't answer.
Yeah.
Nobody in culture is saying that. They're telling you how to fight back.
Right.
How to slip the punch and swing. And so a statement I've been making over and over recently is, and it's just me, kind of a refrain that I'm repeating to myself, is I'm not solving for net worth. I'm not solving for the greatest sex. I'm solving for peace.
Yeah.
In my house. And for me and my family, it means I'm not going to owe anybody any money. Right?
Right.
If you can't take my house from me, then I'm going to be, right? If you can't take my car from me, I'm going to have peace.
Yes.
I'm going to solve for having hard conversation with my wife way upstream so it doesn't turn into a nightmare. But nobody's telling us we can do that. And that's this whole stinking book is you looking and being like, no, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
That's awesome. Man.
Do you sense the all right, let me ask you this. You work in the messy ugliness of people's lives on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
You wouldn't have a job if injustices didn't happen to other people.
Yes.
What gives you the belief in everybody? No, you can.
Yeah, because I've seen it. And that's a wonderful takeaway. That it's a really just blessing to hear that from you, John. Really. I've seen it. My experience in the courtroom, depositions, cross-examination, just the everyday trenches of conflict. I have seen people that could not go into a room without crying, shaking uncontrollably. I have seen what I've been able to do once I spend time with them and teach them how to communicate. By the time that they're on the when they're on the stand in the courtroom, you would never have even known it. And it's like, I know it. I know that they can because I've seen the transition by just a few phrases of letting their breath be the first word.
That's a great story. I want to give it away, but that woman that's a great story.
Yeah, and it's just little bitty things like that where I've been able to see them transform into everything about them simply by what they say next, and by putting them in a position to where rather than trying to control other people, the magic happens when all they need to do is control themselves, and magical things happen. And it's a message that I don't believe that culture is really talking about. I never really thought about that until you just said that. I guess it is very counter culture, very counterintuitive.
Well, you do a good job here of talking about like when your body goes to fight or flight, your body protects you from thinking through your next steps. It just wants you to react.
Exactly.
And so we have an entire culture that's electric with reaction.
Oh, they prefer it.
Yeah. And so if somebody like Jefferson says, no, I think you can. And I can lead with my breath, if I can exhale, if I can do the work to be confident when I sit down at a table, not have, gosh, dude, the most common thing I ask on my show is, does that make sense? Right? After I give this explanation, here's what you need to do next.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, are we still friends, right?
Yeah.
And like just being able to say, hey, trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, maybe don't say anything. Right? What are your go-to open-ended questions to help people open up?
This is a good one that I like. I got this one from Chris Voss and Lewis Howes. I think Lewis got it from Voss, who's
the mastermind,
who's a fantastic guy and friend.
He's the mastermind.
Is opening with, what's the chance?
Yeah.
What's the chance we can talk about X, Y, and Z? What's the chance you'd be willing to go with me to do what here? That's a wonderful open-ended question. For people curious, open-ended questions are questions that don't assume the answer. Like, where did you go yesterday? You can go anywhere. A close-ended question is, did you go to the store yesterday? So close-ended question assumes what the answer is. If you only have a yes or a no response, it's a close-ended. You want to open it up to get them talking. You can also begin your stuff with what or how, but don't begin it with why.
And I would add on to that, unless you're doing a murder investigation, don't ask. Don't.
Yeah, for all you out there.
For all you not investigating murder, don't try to catch people in lies. Life's too short. Your kids, your spouse, like, you know what I mean? There's something about, where were you last night? If you know you're at the store, lead with.
Yeah, if people feel like they're walking into a trap, and in fact, then later you spring the trap, you just lost trust.
Forever.
Forever. That's all you've done. It's not like you've proven your point. You've just,
Okay. All right. This one's kind of close to home, kind of cool. I'm a 1L. I'm a first-year law student who is doesn't like conflict, public speaking, and gets flustered easily. What are some tips?
Well, if you're in law school, I would still, I'm sure your law school has advocacy. First of all, this is very transactional, like answer, but your school probably has advocacy teams. I highly encourage those. They're a great way to learn and do any of that. If you get flustered, understand that that's probably just a sense of your nervous system. You need to be much more available to adding your breath. Breath is what's going to control those nerves. And also understand, if you just don't want to be somebody in the courtroom, you don't have to be. There's tons of transactional attorneys that never see the light of day of a courtroom and do wonderful things in the world.
You can have a good life and not get on a stage.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You can, I know lots of attorneys that even going to a hearing would terrify them. So it just takes all their time. They got it. Go with what's natural.
How do you recover when you say that thing and the conversation goes bad?
Oh, how do you recover? Immediately say, I should not have said that.
Okay. Put it out there.
Immediately take ownership of it.
Okay.
Like that, if you can say, I shouldn't have said that, or immediately, that was unfair, or that was unhelpful. Like, you need to say what they're thinking. You have to go ahead and say what they're already accusing you of. That wasn't nice. That was unfair. That wasn't helpful.
Yeah. Or that hurt. Like almost even what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
You have to get that out front, apologize depending on what you said, and get back on it. But the longer you delay, like if you withhold that apology, There's lots of people where all they have to do is apologize and they just won't.
Yeah.
They'll hold it. It only makes things worse.
How do you politely disagree with someone who isn't mature and who has narcissistic tendencies?
Well, let's just put it as, how do you disagree with really anybody?
Okay.
I mean, you can disagree with a narcissist versus, it's the same thing. One is, like we talked about, I see things differently. Another is, I lean differently, or I lean the opposite. I tend to lean the opposite, or I take another approach. I take another approach.
I was gonna say that one feels right.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. To just say, I take another approach. Period. I don't have to justify it.
Yeah, I don't have to explain it.
I don't have to explain it at all. So I tend to lean the opposite. So I see things differently. I take another approach, or I tend to lean the opposite. The reason why I tend to lean the opposite is a little bit different, because I'm giving them a history of what I typically do. I tend to lean the opposite. That means I'm not just basing what you said right now. I'm just giving you what I'm applying right now is what I apply to everything. So that way they don't feel nearly as called out. You say, this is how I typically handle things, but I tend to take another approach, or I take a different approach. Yeah.
This is kind of an aside here. Y'all can edit this how you want. This is an important question that just came to mind.
Ready?
Is your ability, and I need to mind myself to ask my ability, is your ability to detach and be still come from a place of, I could eviscerate you if I needed to. Could you play dirty lawyer if you needed to?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I wonder, I'm going back to that Jocko question. It's not brave if he's not one of the strongest men on earth and has to run across the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's brave when I could, and I'm going to go across the street here. So as part of this, knowing, I can really hurt my spouse and I'm not going to. I'm going to choose.
Yeah.
That feels like, I don't know, there's something about it that makes it more powerful. Like, you need to mind yourself and know how you can hurt people so that.
Right. Yeah. I know that if I had to play what, as you term, dirty lawyer.
Yeah. Mean lawyer.
Yeah. Mean lawyer. I could say things that would like hurt your childhood.
Yeah.
But I have also had the wisdom poured into me from my family, my dad, my mom, and my walk, of knowing that's a very lonely, empty road.
Yeah.
And so the power of detachment is a true power. When you can see conversations happening and kind of step outside yourself, like you're watching them in a movie theater, where you're just eating popcorn and seeing how the other person's reacting. You get to see yourself.
Yeah. But it's not a detachment from cowardice.
No, it's not a detachment from
strength. Yeah.
You got it. It's not a detachment from cowardice or from the conversation. It's a detachment of
reactivity,
needing to win.
Yeah. Okay, a couple more. How do you politely disagree? Oh, we already did that one. All right, a couple more. Advice on respectfully shutting down rude or manipulative comments from elderly parents.
Oh, from elderly. Okay. So if anytime somebody's saying something that you need to shut down, biggest thing is you cannot walk on eggshells and be like, oh, let's not say that, please. If you're trying to, those kind of people will feed off of that. They'll try to lean to that anymore, or even more. Instead, you need to stand exactly where you are. Instead of beginning your words with you, like, you can't talk to me that way. It's I don't accept that tone. You can't yell at me. I don't respond to that volume.
Yeah.
So whenever you can, instead of beginning it with you, begin with I, magical things can happen. You can figure out how to do that with almost every single phrase. Instead of beginning with you, beginning with I, because you can't control what they're saying. You can control their comment, but you can control yourself, beginning with I, and then you can quickly lay a boundary on that. I don't respond to those kind of comments.
That almost feels like a way to.
It's a stiff arm.
I'm just taking a step back.
It is a very polite stiff arm in a way of, you don't understand where you're going with this. I don't respond to those kind of comments. And if you keep saying them, this is the end of the conversation.
And I think respectfully shutting down rude or manipulative comments from parents may come with consequences, may come with the holiday's over, right?
For
or
sure.
may come with, we're not going to go out to dinner tonight. We're just going to go eat back at the hotel.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And I think people want to be able to, what's a magic way to say this so there's no consequence?
Right.
That doesn't exist, right?
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No, because you never know what they're...
I can't control what they're going to do.
Yeah, you never know what they're going to say or what the comment is or what the context is. Maybe it's probably something related to when you were a child that's triggering to you and they didn't have, maybe they didn't intend to it. I mean, when you can ask the question, did you intend to upset me with that? Did you mean for that to upset me? Like when you can ask the question back, instead of a response, turn them into a question. So instead of like, oh, well, that hurt, that was rude. Did you mean for that to sound rude? Did you mean for that to hurt me? Did you mean for that to embarrass me?
It just sounds like someone shot you and it just bounced off.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, is that, it's so like,
yeah.
It's just so dismissive in a powerful way.
I'm going to say this real quick. On my way here, when I left San Diego, the way the airport's structured is, I just wasn't paying attention, but they have two separate wings to where I went all the way through security in one. I was like, where's my gate? And I keep walking and I walk out of that entire terminal and I have to go realize I have to go through security and another part of it. And I turned around and there was one of the TSA ladies. And I said, oh my gosh, I think I went through that. I got to go through this all again. And she said, well, you should have been looking at the signs. We had lots of signs. I said, well, yeah, I guess I should have seen the signs. I didn't see them. She goes, no, it's your fault, Cher. It's your fault. Dead serious. This is what she said to me yesterday. And I just stopped and I said, did you feel better saying that? And all of a sudden she got red. She goes, I'm sorry, sir. You're right. I'm sorry. I was frustrated. Yes, sir. Like it was just a totally different, it's like that, you can't let it penetrate.
Yeah. But there is something important sometimes to occasionally turn and just hold the mirror up and be like, is that what we're going for?
That's what, you got it. And that's the whole point of asking those questions. You become the mirror.
Yeah.
And you can, if it's really bad, you can ask them to repeat it.
Yeah.
And then they have to be their own echo.
Yeah.
But when you can say, did you mean for that to be, but also I would say it also clarifies things.
Yes.
So like in a text message, like between me and my wife, if it's, did you mean for that to be short? That saves a lot of arguments.
Yes.
A lot of assumptions.
Yes. Or the old Brene Brown quote, the story I'm choosing to make up is, you're mad.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not mad. I'm running to the bathroom and I just needed to hit send.
Exactly. Or should I read into that?
Yeah.
If you enjoyed that clip and want to see the rest of the conversation, you can click right here. Or if you want to see the latest episode of the Jefferson Fisher Podcast, click right here and I'll meet you there.